Okay, so welcome back, guys, to this Oracle Identity Federation series. So, in the previous video, we just kind of validated the environment for identity provider and the service provider settings. Specifically, just the common tab, the option that you see in the common tab, right? So, if it is for an identity provider, then the option should be selected corresponding to the identity provider one, right? And that is enable identity provider option should be selected for an ID on an IDP mission. This should be selected, and the same way the service provider option should be deselected. Enable service provider should be deselected, and the same way we have to validate on other mission that is a service provider mission. It should be the other way, right? So this is what we have seen in the previous video. Now, the other important step that we are going to perform is we are going to actually, basically register the federation partners. Okay. So when I say register the federation partners, what we are going to do here is we are going to actually, basically export the metadata, which is an XML file. Okay. Basically, guys, we have to understand that in the trust that we are talking about, between the identity provider and the service provider component, right? The trust between the IDP and the service provider, right? IDP and SP. Okay, basically, it happens, or probably I would say this trust is actually happening based on the X.509 certificates. Okay, from in an ideal scenario, it basically, it is kind of based on the certificates from a trusted third party, which we call it as a certificate authority, right? Okay. So the trust is based on X.509 certificates. Okay. And usually trusted third party, a trusted third party will be involved. So when I say the trusted third party, they are nothing but the certificate authority. Okay, they call it a certificate authority, the CA. Okay. So as you can see, we are going to see what this X.509 certificate actually basically, we're going to export and import some metadata. Okay. So that's what we are going to do. And this standard X.509 certificate, format, it basically supports the public key infrastructure. Okay, and so in order to establish this kind of trust and to pass these certificates, X.509 certificates, based on this background between identity provider and service provider, we need to perform some steps. Okay, so that is what we are going to do now. Basically, okay. Yeah, so let's get started. Okay, and now we are first going to export the metadata. So this step is part of registering the federation partner. Okay, we are actually registering the federation partner. Okay, and in that we are going to first export the metadata. Okay, all right. So in order to do that, right, so what we are going to do is first we are going to we are going to be in the same identity provider machine. Okay, so go to Oracle Identity Federation, go to administration, and then go to security and trust, right? All right. Click on provider metadata. And here, ideally, you should be seeing the two options, metadata settings, right? Like required signed metadata and required signed metadata and signed metadata. Okay. With some validity period, of course. These will be, deselected. They will not be, checked by default at the time of after the fresh installation. Okay, but I was doing some testing and all that, so I just selected these two. I just selected it already. Okay, so in an ideal, when you after we do the first fresh installation, right? So at the time they would be not be selected by default. So we have to check these two options and then click on apply. Okay, and just below that you see something called a generate metadata, right? So this is nothing but the XML file which we are going to see now. So you have to just click on the generate button. That also I've done it recently as part of some testing. So when you click on this generate button, you'll get this XML file. Okay, if you see here, this XML file will always be in the format hostname colon underscore port name with sp underscore saml 20. Okay, so that is how it is. Okay, because this file we are going to we are exporting this metadata from identity provider, right? So this we have to import it from the import it into the other machine, which is the service provider machine. So always don't get confused. We have to be performing the similar steps in both the machines. Okay, so the name of the file would be okay, yeah. So it will be something like if let me go back here. I'm going here once again. Go to administration provider. Okay, let me select this. Yeah, so this is correct. Now go to administration and then go to service provider. Yes, this is correct. Now we have to go here, administration, right? And then security and trust, provider metadata. You have to generate this one. Okay, generate. So I'm regenerating it here. You'll see the same file there. Okay. So ideally, this we have exported this metadata from an IDP machine, and the same metadata we have to be exporting it, sorry, importing it into the other machine. Okay, so that I'm going to quickly show just where we need to import this metadata, but you have to perform this on the other service provider machine. So for that you have to go once again to the same option there. Okay, go to federations. Okay, administration. Go to federations. Okay, and here you will see something called the provider ID and trusted provider. So here you may have to add it here. Click on add button there. So you see the plus icon there. So click on add, and then you have to import the metadata using this option, load metadata. Just choose the file and then you have to do that. So first we will be exporting the metadata from an IDP machine and then importing it into the service provider machine. In the same way, you may also have to export the metadata from a service provider machine and then import it back into the IDP machine. So that is how you can actually make identity provider to be trusted by service provider and service provider also back to be trusted by identity provider. Okay. So this is the small important thing which we have to do. But when we are doing it carefully, we have to do it. Okay. Um, Otherwise, things might go wrong. Okay. And I will just quickly show you how does this metadata file look like. Okay. So just click on this. You can just see this. See, it has got all the the information like the metadata ID and then my host name and with the URL here. Okay, and then it has got this algorithm. Maybe if you want, I can just to show them in the exact XML format here, and then you got all the algorithm related details, and then in the end you have this X.509 certificate, right? As you can see here. Okay, so this is how we'll be exporting and importing the metadata, guys. So that's all I have in this video. Okay, we'll proceed with our further configuration in our subsequent videos. Thank you.